Remember, depending on what happens here, if Piao wins with 2-0, the word is that he will actually take third. So there is a potential that Vetu gets kicked out of here.
Well, good thing Underwear is playing mid sword.
Oh boy! Oh boy! All right, we've got Sword versus Forest. Wow, this is a match that I'd love to play and watch on ladder. All right, we'll see how the Mulligans play.
Mofu, when is the last time you casted or even saw mid sword versus Roach Forest? I guess you're stunned. You're stunned by it.
Oh
It
my,
might not have been.
Yeah, I was stunned the entire time actually. I was just having some trouble speaking. I was so emotional over this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like issues, but I am actually really happy to see this sort of matchup come in because I think, especially when the matchup sometimes is like just aggro sword versus this, they don't really carry tools to deal with stuff like Roach. Well, we might actually end up seeing a really interesting game here because sword can kind of resist a lot of the clears that Forest has, depending on how much Piao kind of holds his hand for the Cassiopeia. There's a lot of different ways a lot of the interactions can go. Can he have wards up for Roach? What different wards can he use? That kind of thing. So this could go a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm. There's also White Paladin, a card that we used to not play in Sword, but is run very commonly now because of Mars. Mars is insanely powerful with that. This is a really strong turn. Oh gosh, this turn. Oh no. Oh.
And he can refresh the ability with it.
Yeah.
It's all I can say is it's very, very thankful that Underwear is actually playing mid sword because I think aggro sword would have absolutely just conceded on the spot to that kind of a play.
It's one of those. That's one of those like I don't want to play ladder anymore plays. Like get me off this ladder right now.
Pretty much. Oh.
Piao's hand is kind of cloggy though. He's got double Cassiopeia. It's not really doing anything for him. He needs to get some card draw or actually get a Fina so he can cycle into Goblin Mage.
I was about to lose it if he used the Nature's Guidance to refresh Lilac again.
That would have been not that bad, really, actually. It would have been impossible to evolve into.
Yeah, as we observed, it's like, this is Swordcraft. They don't really carry tools to deal with things other than evolving into them, and Shield of Flame's not enhanced, ready to deal with her. But he's finally through that. But there's very little necessity to using a combo piece like that when there's already a Cassiopeia in hand ready to answer anything. So really, the early and mid game have been very insignificant, I feel, for both classes. I mean, for both sides here.
Ooh, Piao's hand just continues to get more mediocre, although Cassiopeia does just clear this for free, so...
Take up my shield.
Right, at the very least, he has a lot of, he has like a stockpile of like lasting resources. He can use his evolution points as frivolously as he pleases, because Aaron just refunds them. And
That's
any
true, yeah,
amount,
that is true.
any
Although, I
flood
mean,
that-
Underwear's got like a really interesting setup here in the Avant Blader. It's a one of, but it paid off right there. It's gonna cycle into Lux, which cycles into more, so that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, Avant Blader with that Sybil stat line now. I have not actually seen Avant Blader in an incredibly long time. It is one of the original and still to this day one of like the only card draw options that Sword has. It's kind of interesting to see Underwear play it because it can be searched by Lux. It's one of those options, and Lux herself kind of does a very similar thing. It lends to a very, very consistent list overall, I think.
It's definitely it's an interesting card because you would think that it leads to consistency, but usually it leads to you playing that against Dragon and dying.
Fair.
Ooh, Orihime! Yeah, there we go.
Kind of funny to see that even 3 copies, the ability to search her doesn't have her up on curve. I just noticed as well that Oduhime can be searched by the first half of Lux's effect. Wait, no. I thought it was defense for a second. Second half it is.
The second half can find Orihime and Albert, I do believe.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Alright. So how do you really call this matchup? I feel that now knowing that we've hit like sort of the late game even, Piao still doesn't, well, he has pieces of a combo in his hand, but he doesn't really have zero cost. It's a very slow sort of process. He only has one roach. Does that then turn favor over to Underwear due to the like sheer amount of board he's probably going to be able to build soon?
I don't know. I mean, Cassiopeia, when you look at the amount of damage she can do, is actually kind of bad at answering Otahime. So I think if Piao, assumes Otahime is coming down, then he should build some kind of board, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Throwing an-
Tsubaki. There's Kaholan though. He might be considering Kaholan
Right.
for not
Kaholan?
playing, just slapping down Aaron right here. That's why he's not doing it, I think.
Kaholan is a really difficult card to play around just because whether or not you give it something, it's like, it's a matter of do I play a follower or do I not? It's very hard to kind of make a good trade.
I actually like that he didn't evolve that. That was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to set up Otahime though. You could just Otahime here. Huh?
That is absolutely true.
Gawain.
I guess he figures he can just kind of, he has a lot of commanders in his hand. He can just kind of go in and push through.
Push that 1 damage. I guess that's fine. Gawain kind of has to be removed. Kinda.
Mm-hmm. Though Gawain is really cool in that he gives Sword a lot of more options. It's like he doesn't really set up combos. In fact, like Sword as a class kind of doesn't really have any kind of like fan of combos. It has like weird support cannon shenanigans and interesting synergies, but like even with the like presence of Gawain, who gives like this really powerful like spell boost-esque cost reduction, it still doesn't really find any like massive game-winning things to do.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't really find anything to do, actually. Ooh, okay. So Roach, chip damage into Airbound. Okay. I thought he was going to Nature's Guide. I was going to say I love Nature's Guidance here because your hand is kind of bad and finding more options would be great.
Mm-hmm.
But at least chip
I
damage
agree.
was done. I do like that.
Yeah, I agree, but when I saw the Airbound Barrage, I thought about it, and it's a smart way to play it because unlike Nature's Guidance, Airbound Barrage is conditional. Your opponent has to have something on the board, and while
That's
it's super
true,
likely that Sword is going to, they don't really do anything but play for board. But even then, he's not going for the kill right away, so maybe this is like more it's more versatile for a larger oh my for a larger variety of game states. I was about to say.
That was interesting. You have to assume that wasn't a misplay, right?
Yeah, no way. Underwear knows what he's been pulling so far. He knows how many he's played. I think this is actually a really, really cool play from him. It's like he says, okay, well, I don't want to commit these other tools in my hand, so I'm just going to take out this last Mars and do the full combo with it. Only made possible because of the Gawain.
I really hate having used Airbound Barrage because now it would be incredible. But, hindsight bias, I guess.
Yeah, there's no kind of OTK you can now set up with a Roach. Yeah, I think that round table was actually sick, because he knows like the last thing that's going to pull is a Mars, and gets this like super beefy board off of it in the end.
Mm-hmm.
The stars pale beside me.
Cassiopeia
Alright, gonna have
4 at 6, hoping it hits the 8-1. Okay, it does. Alright.
It's beyond me to actually calculate the chance of it hitting an 8-1 one time across like 6 shots at 5 things.
It's a 16.2% chance, by the way.
The journey continues.
My gosh.
It's probably not right. It's probably it's close.
I was about to
it's
actually pursue
ballpark
that
very
and be like,
close.
are you a wizard?
No, it's
Like, how can
ballpark
I-
close, but it's not exact.
It's probably
Kaholan.
somewhat like that. Ooh. Ooh, Kaholan with the double Mars that was untouched by that play.
It's not bad. He also takes no damage here, so
Life's fate is thus.
It's kind of like he played a Tsubaki, but he got to cheat and hit it anyway.
it's not in stealth. It's not an ambush, so it's like kind of worse. But
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
like
you can
kind of-
see.
this is interesting to see because like old Sword would have just folds to like forest board control, but with Mars now they don't. Like Mars is incredibly good at creating boards.
Yeah, it's like Mars has given Sword the ability to stick. It's just so interesting that Mars herself doesn't really fit so well in aggro Sword because they have such a, as I have branded it, goal-oriented gameplay that they don't really make trades. But we're seeing it here. It's like when you're against a craft like Forest Craft that doesn't really have an effective or neutral sort of board clear that is agnostic to the defense of each follower, then that's when Mars absolutely shines. You have to trade into everything, but trading is what Mars makes impossible.
Ooh, really not sniping what we need to be sniping here. Get rid of one Mars, but you need to be hitting both.
Mm-hmm.
And defensive Roach would just be not what you want. Could go with Nature's Guidance into Evolve Fairy here. Eh?
That is possible. Ugh. Actually, what does he have to do to survive? There is an Albert in hand. Right.
Can't.
Right. I think he really needed to hold the Airbound Barrage more than anything, but it's so hard to read that because it was a fine play when he did it before.
Was it though? Like remember, I was like, you know, I don't really like that, but it's fine. It, you know, I have perfect information, so I guess it is different. I have a bias, right?
I was thinking
maybe that's
Piao
because
was
I'm aware of the boards Mars can make. I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking that Piao was probably using it with the idea of, okay, I'm going to win this game through the Roach combo, and for that, I'm going to hold on to my Nature's Guidance. But I think with perfect information, as you said, you were definitely right that, like, preserving that against mid-range Sword is absolutely important. Maybe Piao, like, that's one of the strengths of this list, is that maybe Piao hasn't really played against it that much, so he didn't really value the bounce correctly, or the damage from the bounce correctly. But he's poised here. I remember it was a 2-0 that puts him in a super good position. So all he has to do is either take out Burn Rune with either the Mirror or Forest. Goes with Forest.
And that was what I said in the beginning. I said if that Sword deck can win, he probably wins. Like that Sword deck was important to get through because it had two terrible matchups to get through. Burn Rune, the deck without bad matchups. As long as he can get an okay curve, I think he's going to be fine here. I think this is Underwear's game.
Possibly. His opening hand does have some stuff he can work with, but I feel like you need like a 1-cost Sigil into Magic Illusionist to guarantee beyond the corner of a doubt that you will beat Roach Forest. Because Piao's kind of had his variance.
That's the play.
Like having already drawn the kind of mediocre opener versus Sword, now he has a lot more to work with. All he needs is just kind of continue to develop this, maybe find a Fina, and I think he can get to his combo pretty easily.
This is a much better hand for actually building damage because you do have the APM in hand. You can actually make 0-cost fairies, and that's a huge deal when you're looking for not only looking for chip damage, but actually just looking for real combo damage too.
It's a perfectly fine evolve setup next turn, but if we do analyze what's good about Underwear's situation, he has the ability to dump out resources as quickly as he wishes because it has the confirmed Oz. He's not really threatened by any mid-game board positions because he has the Master Mage. So I think at the moment it's still pretty undecided between these two.
He's got a really important card that you skimmed over there, Mofu. Master Mage Levi is the card.
Ooh.
The card.
Really? Against like
Roach?
Roach?
For EP in there. It's interesting.
Yeah, I was actually completely expecting the EPM, but maybe what he's thinking is he wants to get the chip damage in at highest priority before Underwear gets to play Master Mage.
Possibly, yeah.
You ready for the good stuff?
It's just like back in the old days.
It is definitely possible. I mean, Levi's gonna kind of trade with one. You can't just pass turn here. You kind of want to get rid of some stuff, right? Yeah, not wasting a fireball on it though.
Right. It's only a little bit of chip damage. It doesn't get him too far, and like now we're in a position where like, ooh, there were ways to play around Master Mage Levi, but he decides I've found a Goblin Mage and I want to get it out as soon as possible. I need these 0 costs immediately.
I think Piao has, he might actually throw both fairies into Levi and preserve the HP on his EPM.
Yeah, I don't think you can give Underwear that clean of a Master Mage, even for 2 damage.
2 damage is just, isn't worth it. Yeah, you can go fairy, roach, bounce. You can do some stuff, right? The next couple turns if you do that, but man.
Even if you force him to evolve the Master Mage and trade it,
Ooh.
needs the damage.
Alright. 2 damage is worth it.
That would have put Master Mage in kind of kill range of Airbound Barrage. But he's probably just playing to win here. He says, okay, I'm just going to eat it if he has it. He could probably use up another evolution point without really being punished for it on like Goblin Mage to clear its body. And then he has a really, really strong setup with this hand.
That is true, but I mean, Underwear's hand is not looking bad either, so.
The name's Levi.
Snap Master Mage. No consideration. Master Mage Levi instantly.
Don't even think about it. What are you going to do? Oz Dance of Death? The 4-1?
It's I mean, it was the best play. I don't really think anybody disagrees with that. Piao might be trying to talk himself into going into a race here. I think he might be in his mind thinking it's possible.
12 defense is still a pretty decent amount to be at, even though there is an Oz turn coming up. I think he almost has it with the pieces in hand. All he needs is just a few more play points and to get this Goblin Mage out at some point.
Right. I think he might be able to win that race if he does establish Goblin Mage. He's gonna go for it. Yeah. Okay, we're going a little bit. We're getting a little chip damage in. Okay, this is fine too.
Yep, very interesting. He gets the board here, and then he has 7 play points with a developed Roach combo with another evolution point. So he has Fairy, Circle, Fairy, into Roach Bounce. Roach was just 5-7, or 5-9, one could say. But having not played the Goblin Mage...
Ooh, my apologies. I think he just forgot the pass turn, actually. That was what it was, but...
Possibly. But this is getting pretty tight. I think all he needs is one more play point past turn 7. Like on turn 8, this hand does it.
There's a really unassuming card in Underwear's hand that stops this, though, in that
Oh yeah.
Iron Scrap Smelter.
It stops the first attack or kind of forces him to spend a turn developing the Goblin Mage. Because I think there is a possible way to develop an easy enough board to deal with that. It's like there's not another Master Mage in Underwear's hand if he can develop even just the 1-cost Fairy or Goblin Mage. That's a body that he does have to deal with actively. But this Oz could be too good for that. Ooh.
It's not the worst Oz. You already had Dance of Death to begin with, so... He even evolves the Scrap Golem. Alright, now we're cooking. Underwear with the next level plays. Pre-evolving the Scrap Golem.
Yeah, he scans out the Airbound Barrage and decides, okay, well, I'm in a good spot, so I'm not gonna risk any chances of losing this game immediately.
That was, Piao was all of a sudden, he's sweating. He's in a bad spot now.
Mm-hmm. So, if Piao's up to anything, it's absolutely counting. He wants to make sure that he doesn't miss any kind of lethal here, but I can't imagine it. He has to use the Evo point to hit a 4, and there's no way he has 16 after that. So the other question becomes, how about developing the Elven Princess Mage? Can he get away with doing that?
I think Ancient Elf is probably gonna be his play. Maybe EPM. Maybe. You probably have to waste one of the fairies off of it, though. So you only net gain 1. Yeah, Ancient Elf I like more.
Yeah. Then you can Goblin Mage, and then Evolve takes care of the ward for the time being.
Okay, interesting.
The journey continues.
Right. This sets up enough damage on board that Oz can't really trade into it well, Oz can't value trade the Ancient Elf past that Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Underwear's hand is slowing down pretty significantly here.
Tossing Oz in, though. Tossing Oz in, and then just doing Halo Golem, Mage of Nightfall, Scrap Smelter is not that bad, right?
It's very close, because that sets up 7 damage, and then, you know, it's not like Burn Rune really has ways of dealing 3 damage with Earth Sigils. It's a bit of a far cry. Just another Halo Golem or Master Mage would do it after that.
Yeah,
I think that's a very, very
they
solid
can't do
way
that
to
at all, right?
yeah. Solid way to approach this. I still feel like it's close for sure.
You also draw a card off that Halo Golem, so that could be anything. Could even be a Halo Golem.
Well, at the start of his next turn, he does discard it if it's a spell, which, okay. It's just a Dwarf Alchemist, which is both thankful and kinda scary. Because just 2/2 bodies and sigils is not really the issue here.
Ooh, Angelic Snipe. Does that change anything?
Okay, let me work this out the best I can here.
Break
He
out
sets
your
him to
abacus for
15.
me, Mofu.
Alright, he sets him to 15 with the Angelic Snipe, which becomes the goal. 2 roaches in hand. So Angelic Snipe, very, very... Something that's kind of rough is he can't get around the fact that he has to deal with the 0/2 using a hit from Roach. Alternatively...
I don't know, he's going for it.
Right. I'll let the Master do his work here, but I was thinking the Airbound Barrage into some more could lead to getting...
Fairy Circle, Fairy,
just a
Fairy, Roach?
7/8.
Or just Fairy, Roach, Roach?
Yep, 7/8.
Oh boy, Mofu. 7/8. Mofu.
That wasn't me counting it. He figured it out and then he showed me how to do it, but Piao...
7/8, Mofu?
This man knows how to play Forest. That's not a lethal
I think this
line.
is actually terrible for both of them, actually. I think this ruins both their tiebreakers.
Oh my. You're right, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because Piao needed a 2-0 on his own side, and Cho already had lost to Midsword.
Yeah.
Both of them fall to the wayside here, but at the very least.
Yeah. Both of them fight for honor, but they end up just completely destroying
They
the
were
other
both
ones.
too good to qualify.
It's gonna make the math for qualification pretty weird.
Yeah, definitely. But regardless of how that happens, at the very least we can settle our issues in a clean and honorable...
Ah, classic. What a
burn
great way to
here.
end a season. It's the last of the round robin games and we see a dirt burn rune. Oh boy.
Yep. Finally, it has come to that time where we see the mirror of this deck, which I don't think we've seen all day or for a while actually. I think the last time we saw this was Sazoni pulling off like a 100 crack Fist of the North Star with Demonic Strikes.
That was so good. That was the best one by far.
That was actually my favorite time I ever watched this deck. But
it's amazing how like he's the only one that does that too. Like no one else is playing Demonic Strike when they like they'll put in Twin Guardian. They'll realize that Oz is good with Twin Guardian. The thing is like Oz makes every spell in the game good. When will people realize that?
All right,
Oz makes
people
Spellbook Decryption good. Like 1 play point, draw 3 cards.
That blows my mind. I forgot that card existed.
Right?
But I mean, even
And Oz makes it good.
she makes Keen Enchantment. Never mind. Like, Cloud Chorus.
1 play point plus 2 attack is still kind of bad. I don't know about that one.
Well, 1 play point for 3 damage. Everything's equal. And that's the thing. It's like Demonic Strike is a card that I think actually could have seen like a pretty decent like been piloted to decent success in a lot of decks. Even like Aggro Sword, I was surprised never tried it out when Ephemera got nerfed. But perhaps people with more data than I could have answered whether it actually worked in that time. But it's like these are tools that are rotating out. It was kind of interesting. Every single class used to have access to a lot of spells that do a lot of things. It doesn't really occur to people that there is a draw 3 spell that is in neutral, but I wonder if Chronogenesis has any plans to replace stuff like that.
Well, that would be the hope, right? That some of those slightly like Angelic Barrage, right? One of those cards that we kind of forgot. 3 play points, 1 damage to all enemies. I was joking around on a stream once, and I was like, why don't we have a 5 play point spell that does 2 to all enemies? That'd be neat.
I think I would hate that actually.
I mean, it's natural progression. You have 3 play point 1 damage in Angelic Barrage. You have nothing in the middle, and then Explosion 7 play points, 3 damage to all
Yeah.
follow. Just,
I
like,
forgot Explosion existed too. Like of all the wacky
there's
games
like,
we've
like
seen,
a
we haven't
missing
seen
middle
anyone play that.
card that doesn't exist. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just want- We finally see Illusionist doing his thing, dude. Illusionist is finally on the board and completely irremovable. You cannot get rid of him.
He turns into a flame rat pretty soon, but he's like in his prime right now. He's put up a pretty decent trade. He gets to go face next turn. Good spot to be in. I mean, he eats up a Crimson Sorcery as well. There's no way he doesn't.
And it's Underwear going first, too, so tossing Crimson Sorcery into an attack into this thing is just such a waste of resources. And he agrees.
I thought it absolutely went into it, because I feel like if you let... Well, I guess to consider, he does have Mutagenic Bolt, he doesn't have to deal with it for long, but I feel like this is the moment where Piao kind of controls the pace of the game. It's where he gets to choose, I'm the one with the life advantage here. Whether or not you Mutagenic Bolt, it's not really good for Underwear to do, because he is at the disadvantage of that resource.
I think Piao was probably hoping for maybe even... Because he's board locked now, I think he was probably hoping for Master Mage Levi at that point. Although he could just evolve a rat here and go face for a lot.
I would
so.
absolutely evolve a rat.
Yeah.
2 evolved rats in one day. Yeah.
Oh, baby. Yeah.
Even gets the symmetry. They're the guardians of these earth sigils. And they've already dealt like a solid 6 damage to Underwear, who's already getting quite low. And as you said, this isn't really a deck that's good at coming back. That's why I think Piao is already in such a strong position, having been he who drew the Magic Illusionist rather than he who did not.
That was, oh, Levi. Right, okay. So we're gonna commit Levi's Fireball instead of the Halo Golem's effect. Okay. Interesting.
Right. Seems it works out for him here. He does have an access to a little bit of healing, but 2 followers
Master Mage
at
Levi!
3 defense. Delicious.
And both have the same 2 Earth Sigils on the board. This is, this mirror match is, it's probably like one of the best mirror matches ever, because they both play a bunch of Earth Sigils that mirror each other as well, which is just beautiful.
It's so wack. I mean, one of my favorite things about Rune as a class, like thanks to all the Earthright stuff, is I like how there's like a ton of different ones. Even just like Gingerbread House is like one that offers utility in a way that a lot of others don't.
Mm-hmm. There's the silver ones like Price of Magic, Gingerbread House. There's the bronze ones that are, you know, all these basic just Earth Essence ones. There's also just Scrap Iron Smelter's own card. Like, so many different ways to draw Earth Essence. Like...
Oh, unfortunately, with all the Earth Sigils in the world, I do not think anything gets Underwear out of this pinned situation he's in.
He is at 1 life. Ooh, that's pretty good if the Dance of Death wasn't in Piao's hand.
If his opponent's deck was anything else, well, not anything, but mostly anything else, then that actually would have been super massive. But, I mean, we have yet to see Twin Guardians really seal a game or really have a strong influence on a game yet. On the play, but loses
a good card,
the
I
life
promise.
advantage.
But you are right. It has been fairly lackluster today.
2-1 for Piao is going to win against Underwear. But the fact that it was a 2-1 win and not a 2-0 win means that Piao does not actually move on to the regional finals. And I don't know if he gets 4th place either. We'll have to wait and see about the math. But